Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Logan Lewis
and Jesse Cadron.
What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. You've tuned into episode 101 here. It's going to be the summer recap for Jesse and myself. I'm joined, of course, by Jesse today, my co-host. How's it going?
Going very good, Logan. Just had a nice stint up at Lac La Marte. 81 days up at the lodge. Came back home here for about 8 days. Got to see some family, got to see some friends, went to a wedding, drank some homemade wine.
Dangerous.
didn't make it out on the water, but plans to get some fishing in October once I'm done with Moose Camp.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so this episode here is just going to kind of cover everything this summer. We didn't talk about them too much in our intros and outros, as some of the interviews were pretty long, so wanted to keep those short, so figured, hey, why not toss one in here, as this one will be coming out. It'll be actually the last episode of the summer, seeing as the first day of fall is September 22nd, I believe, and this should come out on the 13th. So we're going to talk about some lodge stories, a new pike tactic that you employed this year, and also a new lake trout tactic that you kind of were working on this year that we didn't mention in the pre-fish volume 1 a couple episodes ago there. So definitely going to want to stay tuned for that stuff there, but want to hop into the sponsors here before we kick things off. Big thank you to 13 Fishing Canada for being the presenting sponsor of the show since day one. You can head over to the Republic Canada website, use the code Weekend Warriors, that's WKND Warriors, to save yourself 15% off at checkout. Save the tax plus a little more, whether you're getting ready for some fall fishing here. I've got a couple of those trips coming up, or if you're already thinking about early ice, as that is coming up pretty quick on us here. Some colder days coming, and yeah, so time to start thinking about that as well. It does ship crazy quick if you do procrastinate, like I tend to with some of my orders, and end up leaving it like a week before the trip. It might get here in time. So big thanks to them for being the presenting sponsor of the show. Next up, Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation, as always as well. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the podcast. You can head over to the website, find your membership, or find where you can get your membership from your local branch. Use the Master Angler app as well. You can find that on the App Store for Android or iPhone. And what else? I guess hunting season's coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a big part of the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. If you are a member, there is some access to the wildlife land. There's the magazine, some insurance, and they just do a lot of great stuff for the outdoors in our province. And I think maybe, Jesse, you have anything to touch on with them?
I don't know if he's listening or not, but I'd like to give a quick shout out to Blaine at the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. He's actually headed to Picnic Lake this week, I believe, which is like 10 minutes from the farm. Very local stock trout lake, tiger trout, brown trout, and he's heading up to do a service on the aeration system that's there. He's doing an oil change and just inspecting the belts and all that. So thanks for him for doing that. And hopefully we'll have a nice, smooth operating machine there come wintertime to keep those big brown trout alive.
There you go. Yeah, no, big thanks to Blaine for that. I've never fished it, but hey, gotta appreciate anyone that's doing that stuff. So that kind of covers the sponsorship talk here that we like to do at the start of the episode. And I think we hop into the summer recap. I mean, I don't have too much on my end that we'll get into, but obviously, Jesse, you up at the lodge there. Where do you want to start?
Man, there's a lot that goes on. A guy should really start keeping a journal, you know? I did
my first year.
Did you?
A little bit. Like it ended up being more of just like total fish caught that day and this and that. But I was kind of journaling a bit at the start. I'd never really done that before. But yeah, no, you're right. It should do it. At least try and do it like one per set of clients or something like that.
Right. Yeah, like once every 6 days or something, because yeah, so you were keeping track of like fish catches, and I do that as well. We'll get into that later. But I mean, definite highlight for me happened on my very first week there with me netting that blind silver pike. I believe we touched on that in a previous episode, potentially,
so.
and some people have probably seen on social media, but like that was the prettiest pike I've ever held, and I think that's definitely a highlight for me through that whole season, and that happened on day 3. So that was pretty awesome. And then just a ton of big fish. I mean, we had I think a record year at the lodge for big pike. I mean, we had 249s guided, we had 248s, or 48 and a 48 and a half, and then I'm sure we're up to 10 in that 47-inch range, which I'm like, I don't know if we've had that good of a season.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy for those upper limit fish to be that high in the multiples.
Yeah, I think that's really impressive. I mean, and it's all legit. Everyone's got bump boards, musky bumpers. So it's not like 5-10 years ago when the lodge would get 2-350s a year. Well, they were back when they'd measure them on a paddle and like, hey, you got the head of the tail there? Oh, here, mark the knife on the paddle here. Get back to camp and you measure it. Oh, it's 52 inches. Wow. Like, I don't know about that, boys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not the most absolute way. Yeah. Every boat there it's kind of a custom one. I don't know. It's not the biggest musky bumper, right? What does it go up to?
We've got 50 inchers, and then we just ordered some new ones, and they only go up to 48.
Okay.
So a couple of guys actually put a door hinge just a door hinge on the end to extend it with a 3-inch piece of plywood, so it's like another joint, and so it flops down on top of it, and then when you fold it out, you just have 2 joints to spread out instead of 3 that way, because if you do get that big one,
you want to know. Yeah, and that's just so it fits across the boat easier, right?
Yeah,
like
I think it was either that option or a 60, and 60s are just like, that's just a lot of board and they're a lot more money, I think is what happened there. But yeah, and the guys are still up at the lodge fishing. There you got another 3 days up there. Yeah, 3 days of trout spawn and big pike. And
at the time of this recording.
This is September 3rd. Yeah, and I know Scoob's just got a 49 like a couple days ago, so the big fish or big pike are still biting.
There you go. And so what are we looking at? Do you have some numbers written down for that? We're both kind of numbers guy with that.
I do. On my end, I keep track.
Okay. Well, we were talking before, Brado, who listens to the pod, Stinky Bee Flies. How many did you say he had in 1 week?
Yeah.
40s for pike?
So Stinky Bee guided 60 pike over 40 inches in 6 days with his 2 anglers.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, you do have some 10-fish days, but to average 10 a day is insane.
I think he had a 16 and a 15 back-to-back, and then he had a couple of 7s and 8s, and he was like, oh, pretty slow day. And like, we all gave him a hard time because he was like, oh yeah, I didn't have I remember this quote, and I'm going to razz him a bit, but he came, we're all eating dinner and he's like, yeah, we didn't have a fish over 40 by lunchtime, and I was starting to get real nervous. I'm like, oh man.
Most people don't when they start the day with trout.
Yeah. It's like, come on, don't be so hard on yourself. And you still caught 8 over 40. Like, you had a stellar day, but because you have a 16 and a 15 day, well, of course that's gonna seem a little slow. It's gonna spoil you, but yeah. So he crushed it when he was up there, and some other guides did probably better than myself. But yeah, it's just, that's fishing, right? Sometimes you pick the right bay, sometimes you don't. And I think our number of big fish was really brought into, or like was really high because of the group of guides we have up there. As you know, most of them personally, they're really fishy guys, and we had a lot of
experienced
A lot of experienced guys. Like there was hardly any new people. I think we only brought up four or five people that had never guided there before, but most of them were just temporary anyway, like 2-3 weeks. We just needed them to fill in a gap. Our main crew was all like 3 years plus, so that definitely goes into producing some big fish.
No doubt. Yeah. And so what do we got for your numbers then?
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, I keep a little like pitch counter fish clicker in my boat, and I've done that for the last I think this is 4 seasons now. I've kept track, and I usually tell people I average around 60 fish a day, because like some years I remember it was 54. One year I had 72, 64 last year, and so this year let me bring it up here. I boated in 58 days guiding 3,415 fish, which is an average of 58.8 fish per day. And now for my clicker, I only count fish that I either unhook with pliers or at least get a leader touch in. So if I can grab their line and like I'm in the process about to grab the fish, and it gets off or shakes, I count that. I don't
count that as a win.
yeah. Don't have to touch that slimy bugger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's me. And then of those 3,415, I had 135 fish over 40 inches, which was 122 pike and 13 lake trout, which I feel is pretty respectable, especially the 13 trout, not including arguably the best 2 weeks of trout fishing, the last 2 weeks, which I missed out on, the trout spawn. Because normally you're at least getting, I'd say 1 to 4 a day when the trout spawn's good, over 40.
Right. And that just goes to show how nuts Brado's 60 fish week was, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so like, he got half.
Not to diminish your numbers at all. That's just how crazy his was.
Yeah, I got half of the amount of pike over in a season in 58 days as he did in 6 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you could just time that right. Like I know Adam Gamble that's up there, he had a day that was like 24 or 25 and they stopped counting after that. And it was just in one of the river systems there. So like that goes to show it's just right place, right time. You hit that perfectly, and
100%.
Yeah. Who knows what you'll end up with.
And like I had some days off. Like the opening week, I was only on the water for 3 days. Because Colby and I rotated because we had extra guides on shore. And so in the 3 days that I was on the water, I had 20 over.
Right. And that springtime makes a big difference when you're stuck in that middle of the winter or middle of the summer. I haven't been there for that, but I know that it's tougher then as well. So if you can get in that first month, which I think Brado was there for the first month, wasn't it?
Yeah. 4 weeks, I think he did, or 3 weeks here.
So kind of, some of the prime time for the numbers and stuff like that with that size. So no, that's good. And should we get to some of those new topics or tactics, not topics, but new tactics you were using?
Yeah. So of those 13 lake trout that I caught, I bet you 8 of them came from this new tactic, we'll call it. It involves live scope, which we didn't touch on in the other episode. Didn't touch about it all in pre-fish, right? But man, is it a good handy tool. Like I don't want to say I'm falling in love with it, but the amount of information and knowledge you can get out of it is just mind-boggling. So early season, we're trolling that like 25, 30 feet of water. And so I'd be turning the live scope behind the boat and watching the fish come up and hit the lures, and that was great, and searching and looking. But then as they push deeper into for anyone who hasn't heard, our lake, Lac La Martre, is only 62, 64 feet deep. So our lake trout aren't going down any further than that. So as they push to our deep holes, which we consider like anything over 50, 55, they start to concentrate really well. And trolling with lead weight, probably I use 10 to 12 ounces. And then a lure 3 feet behind that, and which works great. You put out 150 feet of line out, you're down 50 feet. It gets you down there, but you're going to catch the rats just because you're down where the fish are. And then if you got, no offense, but you got an old timer in the boat who isn't the strongest, or just any angler who's not super strong, and you got to set the hook with 10 ounces of lead and let's say a 7-ounce Bondi bait on the end as well. So you got now 17, you got over a pound of lure and 150 feet of line out. Like, you got to have the strength to set that hook and
into a big Laker's mouth.
into a big Laker's mouth. The odds just aren't in your favor. And no one likes fighting a fish with 3/4 of a pound of lead on also, right? So what I started to do is just take out the lead, just run a Bondi, or even the Savage Sucker X-Tail worked really well because it weighed like 7 ounces too, I think.
Right.
I'd tell the guys, hey, string him out 80 feet behind the boat, and I would go at trolling speed, 2 mile an hour, 2.5, and their baits would be so suspended. They'd only be 15 feet, maybe 10 feet even below the surface of the lake, which was fine. This is dead water.
Mm-hmm.
They'd get the odd rat that would come up and like check out the bubble trail and the disturbance from the boat, and then see their lure and dart for it. But for the most part, like just dead water. So I could troll, cover water, scan with live scope, and then I basically just, once I got into a thick pot of fish, I'd turn it straight behind the boat, so it's looking under the boat and ahead of me about 10 feet, and then back towards their lures, and I could just barely make out their lures. And what I would do is I'd wait till I drove over what I thought was a bigger one, like a bigger mark, red, solid return, whatever. And I would time it. I would throw it into neutral, and then let my motor idle down, reverse, throttle it, and just dead stop the boat. And I could time it so that their lures, their Bondies, whatever, would drop perfectly on top of those bigger marks. And anyone that's spent time lake trout fishing knows that your first drop is so important, right? Like that is when you're going to get 70%, 80% of your fish is the first time they see your lure. If they don't hit it then, I think your odds just drop dramatically. So I would drop it right in front of their face, and as it's like 10 feet from them, or as I could see the fish starting to react, throw it to neutral, throw it into forward, and I would time like a bit of a throttle with the hit to the fish. So I tell them, hey guys, get ready. They're still setting the hook, like I still tell them to pull, but I'm also gunning it as well, and to just put that extra stretch on them. Right. And it was a ton of fun for me because it was way more involved as a guide. Like I got to do, basically felt like I was fishing. And I had a couple of fishermen in my boat not complain because we were catching big fish, but they said, Jesse, like, we're basically just your rod holders, man. Like, you're doing all the work.
Yeah.
It's like, it's true, but hey, you're still there and you still got to
fight it,
yank on this fish, and then we got to land it. Like, I'm not doing everything, but I am doing a lot, and they liked it because you can eliminate all the small fish and drop right on, and they have time to like talk between each other and get distracted. But then I'm like, hey, big fish coming, like get ready.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of like the claw machine at the arcade game, basically dropping those Bondies down in there, and for the ones you want. I mean, yeah, they're not wrong, but on the flip side, with some of the baits that you could be trolling otherwise with all that lead, like they don't like hanging on to that either lots of the time, right? If you got a believer on there, or
right,
like you said, over a pound of lead between your just your weight and your lure, I mean, they don't like hanging on to that too much either. And in that instance, basically a rod holder as well, right? If you were fishing by yourself, you would have, like the way Fishy does it, right? Like he sets that into the rod holder anyways and goes and trolls around. So
true, yeah,
it's not really any different there. So I mean, and if it works well, it helps get the hook set right. Like those big trout got those solid mouths. So I mean, I think that's and it is different, right? Some people might say that is cheating, but I mean, it's just another way to target them. And when you are dealing with them, all the guides up there using the proper fish handling and everything like that too. So it's it's not like you're catching to keep anyways. So
yeah, it was so much fun, and it landed the biggest trout I've ever had in my boat doing that. So like, it was sweet.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the method in itself isn't too much different than you would normally be trolling bondies with the pop them up off the bottom, put it back into neutral, right? But it's just more calculated, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's the same method.
For sure. And like once there was a couple days where my live scope died out there, forgot to charge it, whatever. And I could still do the same thing regardless because I was in such a rhythm of it. I'd lose the selective ability, but I'd still throw it into neutral, throw it in reverse, drop their baits till they hit bottom, and you can see, their lines bow, and then I'd kick it into gear and throttle it a bit. And we still caught nice fish, but caught a lot more rats because I was dropping it down on a lot more rats. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If anything, you're really being a conservationist because you're not targeting the small fish.
Well, maybe, yeah. Could be something to that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, that's an interesting one. We didn't really touch on live scope too much in the pre-fish there. If you haven't listened to that one yet, you should. But yeah, that kind of covers the lake trout one. But you also had kind of a different way of fishing for pike as well.
Well, yeah, I'd say it's like different and new for me. Something that I've always heard about or thought of is fishing pike in open water, like pelagic pike, like kind of like they do in Europe. And it was really hard to, so when you're thinking of that, like pike out in mid-lake associated with some sort of structure, whether it's a rock pile or a drop-off or a sandbar, whatever. It was something like we knew, hey, there's got to be some sort of like untapped resource of pike out in the middle of the lake here that we're not hitting because we're so used to going to bays and weed beds and stuff. And the one day, well, I should say a couple of years ago, I started trolling these areas by myself after hours and getting a couple. And I'd say like in the last 2 years, I had kind of one area and one other rock pile where I have caught pike before, and it was pretty consistent. And I knew like if I took clients there and we trolled baits for half hour to an hour, we'd get one or two.
Yeah.
But
It's
now
definitely not as much of a number thing, right? It's more of a size thing.
yeah, that. And then the guys usually would get tired of it pretty quick because they're like, they don't want to troll for pike anyway. So it's like, okay, let's go. So with that, you could only explore an hour at a time, maybe twice a week. So it's a slow process. And then again, with the live scope, being up there with my first year with it, as soon as those lake trout pushed deeper, it seemed like the pike just moved out. They're still in the weeds, like in 10-foot weeds, but like a lot of them just kept going out into that 25 to 35, 40 feet. And a couple of weeks ago, I was heading down to the south end of the lake, and I just happened to drive by this one underwater rock pile. So it goes from like 38 feet mud flat up to 27, I think that one was 27 feet. Not very big, maybe, I don't know, 200 feet around. And I just was like, let's try it. And I just turned the boat. Guys are thinking I lost my hat or something. And I pull up and I said, okay, guys, we're going to try something different. And they're like, okay. I said, grab your Z-Mans. And they're like, what? We're in the middle of the lake.
Where are we?
I'm like, yeah. I was like, let me drop live scope down and we're gonna sharpshoot some pike out here. And they're like, okay. They have no idea what I'm talking about. Drop the pole down. I've never fished this rock pile before, and not 30 seconds in, I scan like left, right, move a little bit, scan back to the right, and there's a fish, just perfectly 3 feet off the top of the rock edge, like right where it should be. And I said, "Okay, guys, who's casting first?" And they're like, "Oh crap, okay." And now they're getting serious and get their rod. And was it Frank? I can't remember. Let's call him Frank. Grabs the rod, casts out, bang! First fish, 43-inch pike. Like it was so perfect.
Like, this works. My plan actually worked.
I told him like I dreamt of that that was the first like big pike in open water that I had caught, except for like trolling lake trout in the spring. You get the odd big pike, but that's
right. But
really
that's just more bycatch. Yeah,
and it's like really close to shoreline usually. This was like truly in the middle of the lake, and I was like, this is freaking sweet. And so we fished that rock pile a little more. We caught a 40, a 38 and a 37, and then lost a couple others. Went to another rock pile because they're like, hey, this is fun. They liked it. They were like, this is like jigging for walleye, but way more fun. And they're like, we just got to listen to you and sit down and we can smoke our cigar and drink our whiskey. And like, they were pumped, right? And so went and checked another rock pile about a half a mile away. Same thing, like 40 feet of water, came up to 22, I think, this one, and just loaded with pike. And again, we're like 2 miles from any sort of land. And we catch a bunch of other real quality fish, like nice, and nothing smaller than 33 inches.
Right. Yeah. No, that average size is a lot better there. And I mean, it makes sense, right? When you catch a pike in a bay that's digesting a burbot, well, you know that burbot probably wasn't in the bay, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With like 99% certainty. So
yeah,
you know that they're going out deeper.
For sure. They're going out somewhere
to find those. Yeah. No, so that's pretty sweet. And it's nice that they were excited about it too, because that's like almost like a, I don't know, like a fish nerd thing. Like you're excited that you found somewhere else to catch them. And lots of times the clients will be like, I don't care, I just want to catch fish, right? This isn't anything. I just want to catch fish, right? So that's nice that they were excited about that. And I mean, you being a big walleye guy, you probably were upset that they compared it to being better than than walleye fishing.
I was just heartbroken that they said it was better than walleye fishing. Jeez, it's just crushed.
Yeah. Maybe if you're closer to some of these lakes down south here, you'd like the walleye a little more. But
hey, I like them. Okay, I like walleye, but they just
like some things better.
I just like some things better. I do appreciate them, but I'm definitely not a nerd about walleye.
No, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But back to like the live scope, just saving time and taking the guessing away. Like it would have took me probably 2 years before I ever thought about going and trolling or casting over that rock pile, and I probably wouldn't have caught anything, and I would have just forgot about it. But like, just there's so much information, and just takes the guesswork away with that live scope.
Well, and you might have thought of it more of a lake trout spot than fishing for pike there, right? Even if you did go and troll it and check it out, you would have been thinking, okay, I'm going for Lakers here.
100%.
Not the case. No, that's sweet there. That's I guess we should talk a little bit. I don't know, do you have anything else for summer recap, or just kind of go into what's coming up next for the future here?
Well, if Zach would hurry up and text me the some lake trout numbers here, I could give some.
That's fair. Not answering. Working late?
Oh, here we go. So, because we might as well talk just a little bit to highlight the lodge a little bit. I don't know. I asked, wow. So we keep track at the lodge of how many fish over 40 inches each day, and then we jot down the biggest pike of the day and the biggest lake trout of the day. Mm-hmm. And the 5 biggest lake trout of the year so far are 43, 44, 44, and 45. And he says there's at least 12 trout over 43 inches. That's pretty impressive. Those are big fish.
Yeah, big fish.
And like Colby Hales, I don't think he's fished until the day I left. He fished for lake trout for like 3 days total all year. He had nothing but pike guys.
That's tough.
So poor Colby, I don't think's contributed too much to that.
Yeah, come on, Colby, do your part. What was it for pike there? Do you have like the total number of 40s landed for the year? Did he send you that?
He did not send me that. When I left, we were at 900, I think.
900 over, what would that be? How many days do you think? So you did your part then, because if it was 900, over 900, there's 9 guides going if it's full or in rotation, and you had over 100. So you had your guy.
True. I did my part. Thank you, Logan.
True.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That would have been over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At least about 66 days. 66 days.
Okay. And that's just ones over 40. Like that's an insane amount of fish if it was just any numbers of fish for someone going out and whatever, right? But yeah, that is impressive.
It was
that is insane, actually.
It was an impressive year. Yeah,
especially because it's not always 9 guys either going
for sure
all the time, right?
I think we had 165 fishermen this year, or maybe 175, but no more than that because we had cancellations too. So yeah, the odds are in your favor of catching a fish of a lifetime for sure.
Yes, for sure. No, and we're kind of what's the word, spoiled here in Saskatchewan with our pike fishing, right? That could be the fish of a weekend, right? When you head out for March Madness. But lots of the people coming up from the States, that's 10 inches at least. Like if they're catching a 30 down there, lots of times they're pumped about that, right? So it's all about perspective, and those are trophy fish by any standards. So no, that's awesome. And I don't know if I caught a 40 this summer down here. I basically just walleye fish so far. There might be a little bit of pike in my trip in the fall, but
I was gonna ask what's been your favorite fish of the summer? Whether it was the biggest one or something special, like got to be one that sticks out. You guys, you had a pretty epic day. That whole day you had was pretty wild. But
and we didn't really touch on that, did we? I posted about it.
Yeah.
For the pod, but one cool thing was during the Riverhurst, the second day of the Riverhurst tourney, this big mark came in, and like we weren't seeing. I didn't know what it was doing out there as far as like where to go. I've seen lots of small marks on the sonar, and all of a sudden this like blimp came in. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is like some better fish, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and it turns out it was a sturgeon. And nice. Then it shot up, like it just started working up the water column, and then all of a sudden breached and like flopped on top of the surface and went back down. So that was kind of cool. I didn't obviously catch it, but that was pretty cool.
Super cool. So when you first seen it, like how far down was it in the water column before it just jetted up to breach?
We were in like 25 feet of water, and it was like 2 feet off bottom.
What? So it went.
Yeah, I don't know why it did it up.
That's crazy.
I don't know why it did it, but that was pretty sweet. But yeah, other than that, I'm just trying to think. I caught a pretty nice walleye at Buffalo for Buffalo standards in my old boat. Sold that to a buddy, and so the day we took it out to kind of show him that, it was nice to catch a pretty nice fish in that for, I guess, kind of the transfer phase of the boat there that we had for a while. So that one was pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, definitely would be the last mountain day I had with a couple buddies. I think I got up at 5 that day and got home at 12:30 that night, something like that. So it was pretty good shift, but fished all day, did some cranks, explored new area, kind of the most I'd explored on that lake. Helps a ton having that mapped with Angler's Edge there, and then using some of the live share data there too from Hummingbird. But yeah, no, that was pretty sweet. Got a 20 when we were cranking because the fish were pretty spread out. Got kind of tired of scoping around. Was reeling in because we started to see more marks. So like, hey, we'll start scoping around some this area. And I was reeling in. I was using, I don't know if you're familiar with snap weights for trolling cranks, but basically had let out 50 feet, put the snap weight on, and had a 2-ounce sinker on that, and it just clips to the line or whatever. And so I was reeling in just because we were done. No one had a fish or anything. Reeling in, I stop, take off the snap weight, start reeling, and I've got a fish on. And I was like, it must have bit when I was, because you kind of I set the rod down because such a long rod. Take the snap weight off, start fighting it. Turns out it's a 28. So I think that's the master angler size.
Yeah, nice.
For walleye here in the province. So that was kind of funny. And actually, I lied. I was going to take snap weight off. When I reached for it, the rod bounced, so the line bounced and it just fell into the water. So I lost that, which whatever. not like it cost much, but yeah. So that caught that one there, and then earlier in the day we'd found some fish further south on the lake, and was like, they're not doing, like, there's some blimps, but they just wouldn't do it. They'd follow, wouldn't touch anything. So we're like, okay, move on, see if we can find some other stuff. And then we had to drop one of our buddies off. So then it's like, I don't want to go all the way back up north. And so we just checked out this spot, and sure enough, the marks were still there. And within, I think it was about like an hour 15, something like that. I went back to back to back with I think I went 30 and a half, and then I think the 28, which was just the fattest 28 ever, and then back to a 30 or 30 and a quarter. And so those were my 3 fish back to back to back, which was pretty sweet. They're all suspended too. We were on a break of like 25 to 35 feet.
Okay.
Just like a sharp break, and all these fish were in like 15 to 20 feet of water.
Cool.
So it was pretty sweet. Yeah. So that was pretty sweet. Just trying to think. I've had lots of weddings and stuff this summer, and then mixed in with some pretty bad weekend weather, at least down south here, and so it's kind of been tougher to get out. But had some good full days on the water. Just recently got out pre-fishing with a buddy, so I guess didn't mention that. But the last Mountain Fall Walleye Classic is happening the weekend after we record this, so good luck to everyone in that. But got out on the Sunday of the long weekend to pre-fish that. And we put in a shift there too. It was like 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. Just grinding it out, checking all the spots. Eliminated a lot of water, which eliminating water is not as fun as finding water. That's for sure.
True.
But the fish, we found some fish, but with it being pre-fish, you don't want to sit on them and catch them.
Yeah.
Catch them all day,
That's
right?
fair.
So we got in some. We caught a 29 incher. My buddy Ryder did 29 incher. That was 6 pounds. Or 6.5 pounds.
Like a rail.
It was literally a rail. It looked like it was on death's doorstep. Did not look good.
So just like an old male, maybe?
Could be something like that. Like it didn't look good, but it didn't look like really, really old. I mean, that is an old fish, but you know how some of those ones, like you definitely see it in lake trout when they start to get sickly looking and whatever,
yeah.
but they look scarred up. And this guy was pretty pristine other than just not looking healthy. So
Interesting.
yeah, that one was kind of weird. But then he caught some like 27s that were like, I don't know, 8 pounds. So
Right.
kind of, I don't know. Usually the fish are pretty healthy in Last Mountain. That was definitely the skinniest walleye I'd seen.
gotta
There. I've
be
seen
something
some
there.
with like deformed tails there, kind of like a weird crinkle in them. But
Okay.
yeah, other than that, no, it was good. Got some good days out on the water, and hopefully got some coming up ahead in the fall here. So
Yeah. You were just saying earlier how you prefer fishing in the fall, or like you like fishing in the fall with the cooler, more comfortable weather. So
yeah,
just get into your prime.
I think I decided today that fall is my favorite time of year. I don't know why. I was just thinking about it. I was like, the weather, I'm not dying in the heat. The cold to me is whatever. It doesn't bother me, but it's not as fun to get things working, and things just don't like to work as well in the cold. But that fall is like a nice, like it can be warm, but a cool breeze kind of thing. And just the stillness of it too. I like that with fall. And then it's also getting into hunting season. So kind of mixture of both things is nice. And yeah, I think I mostly just like that cooler, like 18 to 20 degree weather.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the big
I
things.
hear
But
ya.
yeah, fall fishing's fun. Lots of different opportunities with the fall fishing. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things that can happen in the fall, man.
Yes. Hopefully this fall with some hunting, and got a trip to the Duck Mountains coming up the first weekend of October. So we haven't really ventured that way too much, but hoping for a plethora of species. We've got a little competition going on, two versus two. So
Oh, cool.
see how that goes. Yeah, I think it's
going to be any money on the line?
we were talking about like the losers pays for the cabin for the weekend. And then some not so PG, I guess it wouldn't be winnings. It would be more, what's the word?
Like punishments.
Punishment
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, like
So,
fantasy football type stuff.
Yeah, so we had kind of come up with some stuff like that. So we got to finalize the rules. My one buddy kind of went into ChatGPT and was trying to figure out what we should do rule wise, because kind of the focus is fall trout is where this all started. We wanted to get some nice colored up fall trout.
Okay.
I think lake trout are closed with their spawn and everything. That's fine. We're looking more for some browns, rainbows, brookies. I think are the main three that we're looking for. But there's also smallies, pike, walleye, perch up there.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think it's a point-based system. It's going to be like, I think 5 points for the species that you catch, but then also a point per inch that the fish is. Something like that we're thinking of doing.
Okay.
And then the non-trout species, so your pike, walleye, perch, smallies, is going to be, I think you just get like 3 points or something just for catching the biggest of that day or something like that.
Yeah.
We still have to iron it all out, but that's
Hey,
the plan. It's still going to be
time.
fun fishing. So yes, got some time to ask ChatGPT to refine its rules. So yeah, so
That's good.
That's kind of the future there for me. And what do you got going on?
So I'm taking off to northern British Columbia to go guide moose here for like 45 days, something like that. So I'll get back October 12th. I might hook up with Kyle Callbeck in Whitehorse. I think we've talked a little bit about him on the show, but he guides.
Yeah, he sponsored the March Madness Classic.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Burbot
the Burbot Prize at the So he's got North Country Yukon Adventures, and he's offered to take me out to go catch some char up there.
That'd be sweet.
They're landlocked, like they're stocked. I think they could be. Don't quote me on that, but I don't know if they're stocked or if they're landlocked naturally. Regardless, go catch some char, and maybe
that's
some
up in
pike.
the Yukon.
Yeah,
but you're going to BC.
Correct. I fly to Whitehorse and then we drive down to the moose hunting in BC. But then I got to fly out of Whitehorse, and he lives there, so I'm thinking I'll hook up with him for a day if the weather's nice, and go fishing for a day or two, and then come home, and hopefully get a little kayak fishing in. The end of October is kind of what I'm thinking. Stock trout as well. Get that right before ice in. And yeah, get some hunting in for myself, and then
that's about it.
And then yeah, record a couple podcasts maybe.
Yeah.
And then I'll be off in there. And then I'll be off to whitetail camp. So I'm all over the place. Whitetail camp in Alberta for November. So busy yet. Well, all in November.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's sweet.
So it'll be just in time to get back and meet up with you on Last Mountain for a early ice walleye trip with all your new knowledge.
Yes. No, that sounds like a very good idea. And I'm sure you'll average about a moose per day up at moose camp, a whitetail per day.
Yeah.
Keep the clicker. You take your clicker, you got so many moose.
Oh, man. No, I think I can keep track of them. I don't think we'll be having 169 moose days. Just 169 pike days.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But yeah, no, I don't. I think early ice should be a good time. I've got a new flip over that I got at the end of last year that I'm excited for early ice here, just to pull that out with a light amount of gear and easily flip that over and be in the warmth. We'll probably won't even use a heater, but just have that mobility and whatever.
Instant shelter.
Yeah, no,
those flip overs are really nice.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. But we got anything else for the recap here? Or is that it?
That's about my summer. Lodge life, big fish, good group, good vibes, and I got a new Garmin Messenger device today. I just bought it at Cabela's, and it allows me to send and receive pictures. So you're gonna have to send me your big brown trout that you get here in October on your trip,
hopefully,
your tournament. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Oh no, it's gonna happen.
We did early ice trip last fall, right, to the Narrow Hills area, and I fished the whole weekend and I caught one fish, but it was a really nice brown. So hopefully I send you one about that size for this as well.
Let's hope. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. Absolutely. I didn't even know that you could get pictures with those things. So
yeah, it's just a new little device they came out with. I think it's pretty new. I've never seen one before. So.
And you said you can send pictures as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you get some nice moose, you can send them. Tease it on you'll post it on yours when you can, but tease it on the pod page a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's good fish in there too. We fish for lake trout, rainbow trout, and char. So be doing. I got some flies with me. I didn't bring my fly rod because there's some up there, but I brought some flies with me this time and some spinners, and I'm excited.
Smart. No, that's good. Well, I think we'll wrap up this episode here just to close things out. Big thanks as always to 13 Fishing Canada for being the presenting sponsor. head over to the website, use the code Weekend Warriors, save yourself 15% off, get stocked up for some fall fishing. We're going to be, I don't know if it's going to be before or after this episode, but we are going to be having the Pre-Fish Volume 2, which is going to be all about some fall pike. So get some big baits on the website there, as that is some of my favorite to be tossing in the fall for pike. But yeah, use the code Weekend Warriors, save yourself 15% off. That's what we've got for the summer recap. It's time to get into fall, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to leave a review on your favorite listening platform so we can reach more anglers just like you. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for media updates and behind-the-scenes content.